Hey guys, Brian at Spinal Fusion Shop here. I gotta talk a little bit quiet today because my subject of reference happens to be just over this fence. Have you ever had a neighbor who was just completely loud and obnoxious? Wait, is that me? I happen to have a neighbor here over to my right who happens to have this dog. But wait, this isn't any just type of a dog. It has been described to me by my neighbors over across from the cul-de-sac as a woman being murdered in my house. Well, she's not. It's the dog. Every time I open a door, open a window, want to sit on my patio furniture and maybe fart, this dog goes insane. Now don't get me wrong, I like dogs. A little barking every now and then is perfectly fine and acceptable, but this ain't that. So this one day I decided to yell over the fence, shut up, and my neighbor decided to play Billy Badass and text me, do we have a problem? Now, I cordially invited him to come over to my house and talk to me in person, but he insisted on playing Billy Badass over text and said, ultimately, dogs bark. Yeah, that's not a good response for me. So, I created this. In response to dogs bark, my response is horns honk. If you can't train the dog, you sure as hell can train the human. So come with me today while I show you step by step how to create this anti-annoying neighbor 115 decibel train horn. Okay everybody, so I just showed you this little remote controlled train horn that I built. It's from parts from Amazon. It has a 115 decibel train horn right here that has a little air compressor on it, has a controller also from Amazon, and a 12 volt battery also from Amazon. And I'm going to take it apart here real quick. I'll be back in a second. I'll show you all the individual parts and how I built this thing. All right everyone, so I'm back and I have this taken apart. There's three main components here. A little wireless microcontroller right here. You have your receiver, you have your little key fob. I'll go into this in a second. You have your dual horn set up. Here's your little air compressor, runs a little hose, goes to here, boop, makes a sound. And this is actually just a 12 volt battery that I wound up getting out of an old unnamed DSL battery backup. Won't name the company there, but it was worthless, didn't need it, pulled it out. You can also buy them on Amazon. I'll put a couple links in there. If you have a battery tender at home, that's what I use to actually charge this. Without a battery tender, you know, the charge lasts for about 30 days on this setup, depending on how much you use it. So it's pretty good. So the basis of this little controller comes with all of these lovely diagrams, which, yeah, okay, we're not going to need that. Basically follow the same setup. Show you how to do this. It's real simple. We have a little switch here. These are two relays. It gets power, and then when you press the button, a signal comes in through the antenna, and it powers one of these relays and switches power on to the actual horn. So I have a couple wires that I used heat shrink spades on, and this right-hand side is the negative, and to make it simple, we just have both negative wires. I put them together, put a little bit of solder on. Solder is optional. I like solder to do professionally, but again, this is what I had around the house. You can do better. Everybody's going to comment, say there's a bunch of different ways to do it. Yes, there are. This is what I had. This is easiest. This is what's worked for the past 6 months. So these are the two negatives. One comes negative in from the battery. One goes negative out to the horn. And then we have, this is where the bread and butter is. We have this wire right here, which goes from the positive on the battery to the positive on the circuit. And it's also linked positive coming into the second port on the relay, where we have another on the outside of the relay here. We have this positive on the horn. So I'm going to show you what this looks like real quick, without rewiring everything. As I said, you have, doesn't matter which one goes here. I wound up doing pink to the battery and blue to the horn, just to remember. But you have your horns, you have your, battery negative right here, and then you have your battery positive right here. What that will do is you'll see this little device is now powered up. And to test it, we'll see if you guys can hear this, you press The little button, there's little programming instructions on there to how to get which button to do what, but I have it programmed to A. You'll hear a click. Probably very hard to hear, but this guy's clicking whenever I press this button, which then will power this. So then what we have to do is we have to find the negative and the positive on the bottom of this horn. Doing this one-handed here. We got the negative going right here, then we put the positive right here, and I'm not going to do this again because I really don't want to go deaf. That's pretty much all there is to it. Once it's wired like that, press the button, the little air pump will go and the horn will go off. Comes with a little cover to cover, and I'm sure there's 500 million ways you guys want to do this. I just zip tied this stuff together. I put it out underneath my patio furniture so it's not wet. I have another version of this where I actually bought a project box that's weather tight that I put all this stuff into, but I just wanted to show you guys the cheap basic construction here. I think this battery was 20 bucks, this was 20 bucks, this was $12. So it's a rather inexpensive way to have some fun. I'm going to show you a couple other videos in the future where I've used this controller in different ways to actually make little air guns that shoot clay balls. And I'll show you that in my next video. And we're back. Now, since this thing is completely self-sustained and remote controlled, aside from pressing the button whenever your neighbor makes a really loud sound, you can also do really cool things with this, such as put it in a box, wrap it up, give it to your neighbor, say, hey, Amazon delivered this package by accident, and as I unopen it, press the button from a safe distance so they don't come over and punch you in the face. Various things like that. I hope that this was useful. If you guys liked it, remember to like and subscribe. It helps my channel. I'll see you next time for the next video.